In 2002, there was a man and a woman that lived in Concord, North Carolina. The man, 35-year-old Charlie Norm, and his wife, 35-year-old Kajuma Norm, lived in a farm-like house north of their runway in the nearby cornfield. She and her husband were happy together, but unfortunately, Kajuma was a little insane. In 1997, she was sent to an asylum for a year after she was found 80 miles from her home in a rural area of Huntersville, walking toward an old quarry with blood on a gown and a knife in hand. She was found by a police officer, and when he found her, she was mumbling something. It was in the news for a month. It was unknown what she was saying, but after a few weeks of being in the asylum, they found out what she was saying. Jacob will pay. Jacob will pay. 1999. Jacob will pay. Firstly, who the clip was Jacob? Was that her father or brother? Another thing is, what did 1999 have to do with it? Was that the year she reached the peak of insanity? Anyway, she was placed under homicide watch after she threatened to kill the groundskeeper that took care of her and Charlie's wheat field. One day, a friend of mine from UNCC graduated with a high GPA and moved to Concord, where he got a job at air traffic control person at the runway near there. That's when he told me there was a deranged woman who got into the tower once and said these words, "Come down to the cornfield and die." Mind you, that happened in 2006. So by then that deranged woman had probably gone beyond crazy. Meanwhile, back in 2002, the woman began to sleepwalk. Many nights at approximately 3 o'clock a.m., she'd sleepwalk to the cornfield with an old abandoned house in the middle of it. She'd be found 3 hours later by Charlie, though one night she left and was not found. By this time, it was 2004. After 2 years of her doing this, the husband was ticked. He asked Greg, the groundskeeper, if he'd seen Kajuma. "Well, last time I saw her, she was heading toward the cornfield." "Well, do you know what part of the cornfield she went to?" "Nope. Sounded like she was heading toward that little house in the middle." "Okay, thank you." At this rate, Charlie knew he had to find Kajuma. He put on his boots, then waited till night. Soon after, he jumped on his tractor and drove through the cornfield toward the house. When he got there, he pulled in front and went inside. The strange thing is, the door was unlocked and open. He got in and yelled for Kajuma. That's when he went upstairs, and what unfolded are events you won't believe. She was running at the top of the stairs, like she knew Charlie was coming. She picked him up by the head and threw him into the wall. He was cut by a wood piece, but he got up and tried to fight back, but he was no match to Kajuma. She broke his whole body just by touching it, and before he died, he saw her face. It was disfigured. He realized insanity had won over his wife. Since then, Kajuma has stayed in the house. She's harassed the neighboring airfield. She's kicked one guy out of a plane and has destroyed an air tower and terrified the man inside. She's still at large, so be vigilant.